call our meeting to order.
Dustin,
Yes.
James,
Here.
Sarah,
Here.
Christina, here, Amber,
Here.
Mark.
Here. All in favor? Approval of the agenda is on the next item of business. Any motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, are we broadcasting this meeting?
We have here
We just had a vote, right?
to approve the agenda.
Right, we voted to. Our last meeting, we voted to broadcast and live stream and archive all those that have to vote. One of them.
Every meeting has a vote.
Oh,
A vote outside of the agenda is what works, but we still have to approve our study sessions agenda.
oh,
But it's not a vote on an issue.
I'm not trying to be difficult,
But you are.
but I am being a little bit difficult because of your point is we should broadcast them like we used to do.
But it's not required.
Not required, no, not at all. Just a
Thank you.
nod to the community's interest.
Item of discussion of new board member appointee setting. We have a policy in place that dictates how we are to go about appointing that board member to fill a vacancy. Any questions about anything within that policy?
You think we're just going to follow that? I don't see any need to change it.
I didn't see anything I thought we should change.
So on the notification process, it seems like we technically announced it last board meeting, so that's checked. Right, the district notifies them. I mean, is that satisfied by the fact that it was already announced?
I think we have to,
No.
no, we have to post it.
Like, send it like we did for the people who wanted to apply for the full term.
I think it should be on the website.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be on the website and newspaper, according to the policy. Local newspaper, and we can also put it on the website.
What would be the time frame to get it on the website, give or take?
Tomorrow possibly, but I'm not anticipating us being in school tomorrow. Don't broadcast that to all the kids.
So that would be
But it's
whether.
not like it's a week.
No, it could be the first. I mean, if we were in school tomorrow, then we could possibly get it done tomorrow. I'm not saying it would be in school. But then, no, it would take week. We get it done first day. We get it back.
Whatever day we have. so.
Yeah. And then,
Newspaper would be what?
newspaper, if we get them the ad by Monday, by 10 a.m., we can have it in by Wednesday.
That's good.
Okay.
So, were you gonna say something?
Just, if we get it published tomorrow on the website, does that start the time clock for a 2-week notification?
This does not say that it has to be
Oh,
at the exact same time.
It doesn't specify, that. It says will notify local newspapers. So it's,
The districts will allow residents a minimum of 2 weeks from the date the district publicizes the vacancy on its website to apply for the vacant position.
when were the minutes publicized for the last, were the minutes,
That
was the date?
That's the announcement of vacancy.
It was announced.
Right, but that doesn't count as announcing the application process, the way this is talking about announcing an application process.
Just within that 2-week time period is when people reply with the application that we provided.
I think what you're saying is accurate, that the 2-week period, I see what you're saying, but that wasn't really giving them
We're still
like
giving
time
time.
to
It's already been
apply.
announced. It's already been
Give it
announced.
open.
We'll still give it time, but it's technically been announced since last board.
It's not announced, it's buried in the minutes. Now, are the minutes published already?
They're online.
Public information.
It's public record.
Are the minutes published
think
online
people know.
already? Oh, they are. Oh, okay. So,
People are aware.
But I do think we should give them ample time to, I see what you're saying.
yeah. Can we talk a little bit about what we might include in the announcement? I think that, as evidenced at the last board meeting and by different correspondence and different conversations we probably had, it seems like to the community anyway, in hindsight, if not in real time, but at least in hindsight probably, it seems like the timing of that announcement was kind of on purpose. We don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it just seems that way to have been delayed. Like, there have been circulating things about guy sold his house, closed on at the end of October, so he knew he was not going to be able to finish his term. He could have told us ahead of time, and we could have told the clerk, and so there could have been 3 positions on the ballot instead of only 2. Like, it just looks like that to the community. So should we maybe say at the beginning, while we would have preferred that the community would be able to select their representative on board, the timing just narrowly missed that, and so we're going to appoint, and so we want to apply to be appointed, just to have something like that at the beginning.
I would like to say to that, he won that seat with a vote by the public. I don't know where any of you live. I don't know what any, I had no idea that he had moved. That is not something that's on us to know.
No.
We had no idea. I mean, I knew that day that
When Mark announced it.
Yes, I knew that day. And I think that there's a lot of factors that can go in when someone's moving. I mean, sometimes the spouse goes ahead, sometimes someone comes back. He has a business here. He was back and forth. I don't even think that.
He's still on the chamber board.
He's still on the chamber
Yeah.
board. It's not like, I really am upset by people saying that it was nefarious when we planned it.
Right.
I knew that day, so.
I
And
think-
I think if they have a problem with Guy's timing, that they should take it up with him. And if they think it's wrong, they can go to the ethics commission, but that is not on us. We had no idea.
I agree.
So we're dealing with the hand we were dealt, and I think it should be posted the way any opening would be posted. Due to circumstance, we now have this opening, just because that's all we knew.
Making a statement is making a statement the guy did something wrong.
I know, I get that.
And I think he was well within his decision-making piece. I think we've clarified that
Yeah.
piece. And, I hate to say this, I feel like people are attacking Guy, but I've seen him donate hours to the school board, hours to social clubs, to schools, events, things like that, to Searchoma Club, to the chamber. I mean, it's an attempt in doing that. It's kind of an attempt to attack him, and I would caution you on that, because that is the premise in which you're setting is really an attack of a former board member. That's the way I would take it as an individual.
And I think
So-
And I think
addressing
it
it
deserves
almost
that.
gives it validity.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's fair
So
to
let
him
me-
or us.
I think maybe I didn't say it very well, but I just wanted to clarify, because I totally understand, if you're moving, there's so many things going on, and you are finishing up things with your business and other responsibilities, and even if you totally kept saying, oh gosh, I gotta send in that notice, or maybe you just didn't even think of it, but there are lots of things. But just to counter what the rumors are saying, we could just say, we would normally wish it to be, I wrote even a little sample thing, because I didn't want it to sound like it was an attack on him at all. But can I just read you my sample, you guys can decide if it fits or not. Time to time, board members necessarily have to vacate their elected positions before their term is finished. State statutes outline the process in, and I named them, for a replacement to be temporarily appointed until they can be selected for the next school board election. We as a board affirm our preference for the community getting to select their board representatives, and we lament that the timing of this resignation narrowly missed avoiding district patrons that opportunity in this instance. So that just says, you know, it just didn't work out this time. It didn't happen the way, you know, everybody would prefer, we got to vote on it, but the timing didn't work. It had to have been much earlier, and so this is the way we're doing it from here on out.
I think that due to circumstance says all of that. Due to circumstances beyond our control, we are in this position, and here's what we're doing. Here's the policy and how we're going to do it. Because I think
This is the process.
due to circumstance, this is the process that because I think anything else makes that, and that is not fair to him.
I just think affirming that we're on the side of the community getting to vote would give a big plus to the trustworthiness of the board, to the picture of the trustworthiness of the board.
That has nothing to do with us. If we would have known, if he would have moved, that is not what happened. It's not what happened. So, due to circumstances beyond our control, this is the situation that we are in, and here's the process in which we're moving forward.
Okay.
It's the hate, I guess.
We affirm our preference for the community to do that, but the timing didn't work out, and so that way they know we weren't trying to do it. Like somebody said, well, Mark knew ahead of time. He should have. I'm like, hey, you guys, that was like the guy.
I knew hours ahead of time.
Jamie Dragg knew ahead of time because he got himself on the school board agenda before we even accepted or heard
I
about
wonder
the
who told
resignation.
Jamie.
I did.
You knew ahead of
I
time.
knew he was resigning because I received an email from him saying he was resigning
That day.
that day.
You didn't know ahead of time?
I talked to Guy the night before, and he didn't know the night before whether he was going to resign or not.
Oh, okay, because Jamie had called me and another couple of people had called me that weekend before the board meeting on Thursday,
I did
saying,
not
we
know.
heard this from Mark, we heard this from so-and-so. I was like, I don't know, you have to ask Guy.
I did not know until he sent his email that morning
Yeah.
before the board meeting that he was resigning.
Okay.
I would add that, you know, I could talk all day and how much I want to go live in Colorado and go fishing in Wyoming and living out there. I want to just live in the land. Unless I do it, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I could talk all day long about that. All these things are here, so it doesn't matter. We got a fact, and the fact is he was an honorable member of this board. That's how we're going to treat him. If we're making a public statement, we need to state that. Maybe present some kind of award as well, like we would normally do. That's what I would say. It's just like anybody leaving a corporation, a company, military, government, it doesn't happen until you're actually gone. So you can talk all day about it. I used to hear guys talk all the time about how they're going to retire, and they never do. So those things don't matter until it actually happens.
I think one argument is that his term lasts until 2026. He knew he wasn't going to be here all the way until then.
Well, he didn't know until he did all the steps necessary. You can buy a house somewhere else, doesn't mean you gotta live there. I bought a house here before I lived here.
Not arguing with that, James,
So-
but he did not own any residence in this district. And maybe he was staying with his kids. I mean, who knows?
I don't
Lots
know
of
that.
different options it could have been.
When we moved here, my husband was here 6 months before I moved here.
Right. I know that happens a lot.
And that's where when people say things, I'm like, that's a personal decision. That is none of our business. Until he says that he's giving up his seat. And why are we judging what he did and what he didn't do? From a board standpoint, we were delivered a resignation on this day, and we have to deal with the hand that we're dealt. So that's what
I just think it would make a better statement to the community to say something about it. But it's okay if you guys don't think that. I will note, and I am not at all being sarcastic or bitter or anything, but I will note that last summer, the board issued a letter to one of its members for something she was doing that was perfectly legal and well within her rights. And no one seemed to have any trouble signing that one and agreeing with that one.
I don't know what it was.
That was a letter to me.
I have no relevance of that.
They're the same thing, saying, we are sorry that this thing happened, you know, it's not our preference, we would have preferred it went this way, but it didn't.
So we want to talk about the application, or?
Yeah.
Are we gonna put at the beginning of the announcement due to circumstances beyond our control? I like what she said about that.
I would say per board policy, here is the thing, that's it.
It's clean.
Nothing else is needed. Per board policy, a vacancy is open, as stated in the December board meeting.
It's clean.
We would like to publicly thank Guy Calloway for all his dedication to the Ozark, etc.
I think if we properly thank him, then we're going over the edge of being.
Why? We
Doing
didn't.
that.
I think it's, I would probably thank him.
That's cool.
So you can,
And we can, that's right, we can do that individually. So are we gonna put at the beginning of it, due to circumstances beyond our control or nothing?
I just go with per board policy.
Okay. And then we
It's my
can personally do
opinion.
anything we want on our own page and we'll share it. That's fine.
And then you remove the good, the bad, the anything, just here's the fact, per board policy, X.
I consent, if we were voting, I would say, okay, that's fine, I agree. I just want to caution, to build trust, there has to be the openness. And if the board is trying to build more trust and show more transparency, there has to be some openness to say, you know what, we know this was bad, but it's not our preference. Not saying it exactly like that at all, but just to say, due to circumstances beyond our control, is, I think, at least acknowledging that it didn't look all that good. I'm not trying to persuade you, I'm just saying, something to keep in mind for the future as we're dealing with things. I don't know, that's just my view. And James said, do you want to talk about the application?
The
is
application,
there a 2 week, what's the timeline that we're gonna have this?
At least, minimum of 2 weeks, and number one, if the last sentence is number one, a minimum of 2 weeks.
Okay.
Dr. Wilson, in your experience as a superintendent and putting things on the board when there's an upcoming election and time to file, would having it in the minutes of a board meeting count as publicizing it on the district website, or does that usually mean, or at least infer, make a separate announcement that shows up on
It's
that?
just, we can just have it open. If we post it on Monday, I think that you should put all of that week and all of the next week. What is that, Monday, the 24th?
Is that okay, James?
Yeah.
with you?
I think you should have it open for people to apply for.
A special announcement like you did during the
24.
filing period. Thank you. Just.
So what, on that,
What is it, the 12th to the 24th?
13th.
13th to the 12th? I guess I could look at my own calendar. I'm guessing.
So the time frame that's on the website will not match up exactly to the time frame in the newspaper, but I think we have one that's in full.
Starts it.
Yeah, that didn't happen, as long as we got it open.
So, I'm sorry, you said the 13th, and then 2 weeks would be through the 27th?
To the
Oh,
24th.
to the 24th would be the end of.
Yeah, full 2 weeks.
That's 2 business weeks, but that's not 2 calendar weeks, you know, I don't know which, if it matters or not.
I think,
so, I mean, the accept resignation from Guy Calloway is actually on the board management point for December, so.
That's not a publication on the website, that's what we were just talking about.
that's why we'll do the 13th to the 24th. I think put in the newspaper that, the deadline for sure, of the close of business of the 24th.
You want it to be 2 business weeks or 2 calendar weeks? That was my question a minute ago.
If I'm posting a job opening in business,
what is it when it's the filing? When we have to give it a certain number of days before the filing period, or do you know how does that count? Is it just business days or is it calendar days?
I think it was just 2 weeks prior.
2 weeks prior.
So it doesn't really ever
So
say
14
business
days,
or,
14 days versus 10 days, that's
I don't know that it really ever says that.
I would
Just give us
advocate,
that.
let's make it 14 days.
I only have one question. If you have, we've got 4 people that put themselves in there, 3 that
That's for
would
the
be-
election, right?
Correct.
Oh,
So
okay.
you for just a second. You got
Yes, sir.
4 people, 1 returning, okay? So you're really down to 3 in a way of eligible for this position right now. Sarah's already sitting in a spot. You have 3 other people who have filed for the next election,
For the
okay?
for the election.
Correct,
But
right.
this is different.
Correct,
Oh,
so
okay.
that's what I'm trying to bring together.
Yeah.
Okay, so if those 3, let's just say all 3 of them say, I take Guy's spot, okay? You gotta choose one, okay? They're the only 3 that apply for it, okay? So now you've got,
Wait, what?
Just let
You
it
think all 3 of those 3 are gonna also apply for
They
the?
could.
He's right, he's hypothetical.
I'm
just trying
giving
to follow what he
you,
said.
right, I'll get there if
I'm
you'll
just
give me a
following.
minute to
Okay,
finish.
sorry, yes.
Okay, so if all 3 apply, and they're the only 3 that apply, means you're going to pick one of those 3 that are on the ballot for April.
If they're the only 3 that apply.
That's actually what I said.
Okay.
If they are the only 3 that apply, right, and those 3 are on the ballot,
Good,
okay,
good. I'm with you
you've
now.
got to pick one, okay? The time frame in which we're running 2 weeks, the time frame in which we would need to notify the clerk, is that correct? Is the 28th, the 28th is the deadline, okay? Would that person then need to remove their name from the ballot? Can you remove it after the 28th, or is that the hard line, like it's gonna be on that? Because here's my point. If you have 3 people and we choose one because we need to, and we can't get them off the ballot, that might steal votes from somebody who, and they're gonna be on, right? That could steal votes for somebody, and they're not really, they're on the ballot, but they're not really being chosen. So do we want to try to get this done prior to the 28th is what I'm getting at? Have it open, make a decision, that way, if somebody, whoever you pick, if it's one of those 3, and it's the only 3, they have the ability to get their name off the ballot prior to having to go to the clerk on the 28th. Is that, you following me? Okay.
I think those are big ifs because.
Well, I agree, but you may have
might
to.
not even want to.
Well, they may not, but there are 3 people who have shown interest, whereas there's a bunch who haven't, right? So you already have 3 people that have interest. In my mind, it says they might be interested in this opening, right? I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I'm just saying, we have to be prepared for that piece. Does that, am I in the
Yeah,
left
it would
field?
help the public too, it would make
Yeah,
this
they may get,
clearer.
I agree with you, about.
Yeah.
Or do they stay on? If they stay on, and they win, what happens at that point? You've been appointed for Guy's spot.
I guess you would take if it were me, I would take what I won, because then I wouldn't have to run for
3 years.
whatever term. And then that would put us in the exact same spot
And are
of having
legally-
an open position.
Are they legally okay to do so?
I have no idea.
I think you are, because you would technically be able, you would resign from the one before you're appointed for the other. And this is a hypothetical, but I would rather not get to that timeframe and go, well, now we're in a game. I
Yeah.
just want to be ahead of it. You would resign from one, be appointed for the other, we would have a vacancy and have to reappoint again.
Right.
and
Are we
that's-
sure that that's the 28th is the last day?
Yeah.
I think I would saw that.
2 full business weeks.
Yeah.
What if we did get it posted by tomorrow?
In the website,
Mm-hmm.
I'll work with
I
Dan.
think
And
we
then
should
you would,
still say to the 24th, we could.
I'm actually trying to fix this for you.
Sorry.
I'm trying to fix this for you and give you the weekends, because if we got it tomorrow, and we still left it as the 24th, we could have a special meeting on the 27th.
Okay,
That's what I was.
100%.
Even if we
Technically
don't get it
speaking,
till Monday.
any one of those 3 applicants, if it's just those three. Any one of those, it's their position to really to resign from just like that. It's their, they can play that on out to say, hey, I don't really want
But
to.
I think that that's unfair to, I think that puts us doing it twice.
I agree.
So I like opening it on tomorrow, getting it open tomorrow, ending on the 24th, and we'll set a special meeting on the 27th to appoint.
For Monday.
Do we have them all, whoever applies comes, or we
That's the next thing
have
we need to talk. We're gonna go based on application.
It'd be my purpose, to go based on my application.
That's fine. For due to time constraints, I would be okay with that. Because then we could tell Paula, I'm sorry, we could tell the county clerk which day to,
She's Paula.
yeah. And then that would fix, because I don't want to be in that position.
I don't, I agree, I'm just trying to, I don't know why.
appreciate that thought
There
process.
have been times during the month of February when someone has wanted to withdraw their name from the ballot, and the judge will issue an order taking them off before
But
the
this
ballot.
gets around that, and we have the time to do
That's
it.
When does anybody know when the ballot, because it can only be done until the ballots are printed, right? Or you have
But
to
I
have all
mean, we need to
ballots.
follow her date. I think that this still works, the 10th to the 24th.
Right.
And then we have a special meeting on the 27th. We hopefully have a clear, I don't think we get ahead of ourselves unless we would not have a clearance on the 27th.
You know, I don't want to rush a decision, to be honest with you, that's the only reason I'm asking. But if
Well, I
have
think
to
we
do
get
that-
there. and-
Yeah,
What'd you
okay.
I don't want to, I see what you're saying, but I don't think we need to get ahead of.
What'd you say, Dustin?
So I wouldn't necessarily want to rush a decision, you know, because you're talking about, you know, what it's going to be, you got,
A year and a half.
you could have 15 or 20 applicants, and you need to review them.
We got to see what we get.
I think you gotta see what you get and then go, we may have to make a decision due to time constraints at that point, but if you get 3, you might be able to wade through that pretty fast. You get 25 to fairly go through them, I think you might need a little bit.
Can you send them to us as you get them?
That's what I was gonna say, can we ask that they're sent to all of us so we can review them?
As you get,
As you get them.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I wouldn't accept any after the deadline.
5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Whatever your close of business
Or more.
is. Okay.
And can we, if they're not 25, but if it's 10 or 8 or fewer, can we have them come in case we want to talk to them? What if we are looking at the application, but we don't, it's a lot different to talk to a person in person, you know, than just look at what they wrote on their paper. Is that, am I overthinking it? I think it'd be better to get to talk to people.
The only caution I would give you would be if you, you know, again, let's go back to the 3-person scenario, okay? You're gonna pick one of those 3, okay? I wouldn't want any of you gotta pick one, and these 2 don't get picked, right? I don't wanna have necessarily a rift before it ever gets started, because you would pick second. You get what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain that piece. If you're doing it based off of X, I don't know how to explain that, Christiane. In my mind, it may not be coming out quite right, but is it?
I think
But-
that happens whether we interview them or not. No?
Maybe so.
No, I want to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you
And
had
you
a point
may
last
not
time, I
agree
just
about
wasn't
one.
following
Yeah.
it.
No, you may have agree. It may happen no matter what. I just think you can go through that process. You can go through, hey, here's the date, here's the information. It's up to you guys. I'm good either way.
What do you think about having them come?
I'd say the only thing is, but we're saying, okay, we're gonna do these, we're gonna do interviews with everyone, as, let's say, get to 25 people, and you have 25 hours of interviews. or-
That's what I said, if there were like 8 or 10 or something,
We
maybe.
probably ought to decide that now, though, as opposed to.
I would say that we would say we're gonna go based on application. That's our intent.
Okay.
I mean, if we get a ton, then we may have to adjust, but I think our intent would be that.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm following where you're at. That
If we
makes
can't
sense
make a
to me.
decision based off of really the application, then
And really, it's not really us so much about the quantity as it is the quality too. I don't know, we're gonna have to look at them. I'm thinking about this from an employment standpoint, so I don't really know. Anyway.
One thought would be that if you can't decide to filter down so many people, that we could have some kind of.
I'm expecting you to have a spreadsheet.
So we can have an additional vote, right, or can we do that? Say, okay, hey, we're gonna interview some people.
Well, this is open too, yeah, remember that. It's all open.
Which is what a campaign would be if they had to run.
But you don't have to come in front of the board and answer questions in an interview. You don't.
Yeah. The school goes to the town hall.
You don't have to go to that.
It's not like an interview.
You don't have to go to that.
If you had all of them lined up and said, okay, we're gonna go down the road.
You can answer that
I think we go based on
You can answer that question
application.
too, okay.
I think anything else.
What
we
happens
get-
here, somebody else's answer, and they think, oh, well, that extra 5 minutes. I
That is
just-
very true, because you give a disadvantage to whoever goes first. Because people who are gonna be asked those questions down the line, they're gonna be, oh, that was a better answer than the one I had, so I'm gonna take that one. I think we go based on application, no matter really what.
Or talk to them individually.
And you should never switch questions. Everybody should get them.
It's open session.
Well, I was thinking when there might be 3 or 8 or something, I was thinking we would talk to them individually. Like I was thinking 20.
You can't, it's open. It's
open.
open. You can't stop somebody else from being here when it's open. So I'd be like, I'm gonna listen to your answer. You know, so, I mean, I don't think that that's fair.
Okay. That's a good thing about hashing out things.
Like in a town hall, they would ask the first question to the next person first and then switch around, but that's a whole different situation.
The questions change because it's not technically an interview.
Right.
So, okay, we're gonna go based on application. I'm glad we talked through that.
Any other questions or concerns?
Are we going to talk about what the application looks like, or are we just going to use that one from the
We have to
MSBA?
sample it. Is there anything that needs to be added to that application?
Yeah.
I looked at that one time.
And if they type it, they'll have more room than just 2 lines. Right?
We're missing a page. Are you missing a page?
Yeah.
Yeah. Page 2.
We're missing
Yeah.
page 2.
Page 2. Can we pull it up here?
But I have yeah.
You should have it on the email, but we can pull it up too.
It's BBE AF1.
Now, when we're talking about putting the application, I'm gonna figure through this, putting the application on the website, and you said if you type it in, you would have more space. I don't know that,
It's not a fillable.
I don't know that it's a fillable
They're
PDF.
gonna have to print it and bring it in.
You know, they have to
Not
attach,
good.
just they have to attach their A and C
Yeah.
attached.
Attached, and they can write their
Yeah.
answers
Yeah.
on the separate page or something. That's a good idea.
Did you guys find page 2? It's on the
Oh,
email.
I got it.
Oh, you got it.
It's just these other
So that would be how, like, an announcement is
You have an
easy.
extra B in there.
Two
Yeah,
B's,
but-
it's
Just
BB
one, yeah.
instead of
You had
BBB.
3 B's. Yeah. B/AF1.
AF1.
I would think it's here. Good job, Mike. Thank you. And just make it bigger. So you don't make it bigger.
I could read that before she does.
That's impressive.
Oh, how'd you get that to be a Word document? No. Oh.
And just go down where it's
To the right
to the very right where it says that 0 to 100% over there, all the way to the bottom corner.
bottom corner to the right, that little sliding.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry. That's okay. I think we're asking you to do this in front of everybody, so we're good. No, go back up. Keep going, we'll just do one page at a time.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We have to do this every day when I have a meeting in here. Is that better?
So we have that page, we need to see page 2.
Okay,
That's
here we
the
go.
page
This is the
number.
page. Page 2 is what we don't have in there.
Thanks, Barb.
Keep going down. These are the questions.
Name, address, phone number, email address, happy with how long you live in the district. Basic information.
Okay. I don't really think, I think we're good. What you signed out about and say, it's a PDF. I think if I were applying, I'd be attaching my answer.
Okay.
So we can put on there attach answer.
Oh, good.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fill it out, and then I have to put the attached. for answer form.
So when we meet on the 27th, that's when we're gonna choose somebody, I mean, assuming we have a manageable number of applications, that'll be when we choose somebody, is that right?
Yeah, but I think if we get them as we go, we're gonna be able to be prepped for that meeting.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
So
So
I can
then,
rely on the spreadsheet for James.
so then, so are they being sworn in that night or the next meeting in February? Like I'm looking
Well, we
at,
have to vote on February, right?
right, I'm looking at this.
We need to vote that night to get them on.
Uh-huh.
We'd have to vote that night.
You can vote that night. and
Vote
swear
that
them in
night and
next
swear
time.
them
And swear them in February?
That a vote would be in
Yeah,
there.
it's not, it's voted and then you get sworn in the next.
Well, you can remove your name for any reason,
Yeah.
so.
Oh, I guess that's true. I guess that's not really, that's true.
If they want to remove social problem.
Right.
Well, if you don't want to, don't apply.
I thought, I saw something about that district.
I know.
Certifying the ballot, which would indicate if you're a member, I would think that would give you the zero to take that name off.
Right.
You'd have to look at the policy.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't think you could do what it was.
Okay. When is our January meeting? I was just pretending like I don't have my own calendar.
We'll take care of it.
I think we would vote, just like we voted the election, but you're not sworn in until the next meeting.
Right.
To the next open meeting, official meeting.
But then we give them the opportunity to remember themselves because we would have voted.
I think the district would rule is that with their certification.
We would probably, yeah, 'cause we would certify the ballot and probably have a conversation. I'm just, we've never done this before, but we would certify that this one is now a board member. And
I think we would let them remove themselves from the ballot, because like somebody talked about, Amber maybe was the one who said it, they might want to be appointed and then run to get the 3-year, I mean, I don't know.
There's something on that.
I think we should let them be the ones to remove, to say they want to remove the names. I don't know.
Yeah, James will research that.
I think there was something on that memo you sent out earlier that said,
the MSBA.
yeah, they must be.
Oh, yeah. The FAQs.
It's maybe the second section on the first page, is that what you're talking about? MSBA recommends that the district require the candidate to submit the withdrawal in writing and in person.
There you go.
Withdrawals not made in person will be accepted, only the district can verify the candidate.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, That's probably it.
I don't want to. If the district has certified the election to the clerk prior to the deadline for certification, the clerk may allow the district to withdraw the certification and resubmit an amended ballot. However, after the certification deadline, it may be removed from the ballot only by court order.
So the school certifies it on the.
We'll start on the 28th.
And they can do that, they can be removed by court order through February 25th. And you know, it's happened before in some elections that somebody's name's on the ballot who wasn't a candidate anymore.
So the candidate would have to withdraw his name on the 28th. We don't have to do it at the same time.
Yeah. The candidate would have to
Well,
withdraw.
it says if the superintendent or board secretary needs to notify the county clerk in writing of any potential ballot issues not later than that day.
No, that's like a bond issue or something.
Just like we do something that's
Oh, like a problem.
So what do you have, what do you need from us?
carried out.
Yeah, I think that's a ballot issue.
We'll work and we'll get it on the, it will not be up there at 8 o'clock, but we'll get it up there
That's all right.
tomorrow.
That's all right.
We will get everything on there tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Be okay to adjourn? My daughter's singing the national anthem, I'm leaving one later.
That's so neat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Dennis, did you say